What's up, guys? I'm Illy, and I am back here recapping the work that I have done in class two. So here we go. So I started the program with a really lofty idea, and the idea was AI data centers in space. I spent like 15 years in the aerospace industry, specifically in space tech, and at the time I saw a need and the way that technology was moving, and I thought that putting AI, the data centers that have a lot of problems here on Earth, putting them up in space solved a lot of those problems, and that people are like we're dying to do that and to pay for it. What I found was that it still is a problem, but data centers are still getting made on Earth. We actually can't even keep up with the demand of how many are being built, and that nobody really is dying to pay to launch them and to spend the time and effort to get them up into space. So, what I decided to do was to pivot and to change my focus away from something super lofty into something a little bit more tangible down on Earth. So, what I started thinking about was at my time at SpaceX and NASA, what problems I was really running into, and what was I butting my head against that I personally wish was done better, and something that I wish was solved differently. What I came upon was something that I remember, which was like a ticket system that we had, and this ticket existed in both companies, um, and it was really clunky at NASA. It was a little better at SpaceX, but it still required a lot of keystrokes, a lot of typing, a lot of like manual human intervention, and I've thought about whether or not we could automate, some of these tasks, some of these processes. So the first thing that I thought about was something that I call a PCB defect dispositioner, which is it's either a tool that either like automatically like finds the defects, or it can be integrated into like a current QA process where somebody like a person finds the defects, but then it moves down and then the system itself can like disposition the ticket, can put in the proper fix, and can start building this library of like known fixes. And it just automatically, like, once something is detected, it just knows what to do. Because right now it's up to a person, like, it goes from QA to like an engineer, and it takes the engineer's time to just literally like type some stuff and pull down like from a menu, like, hey, just do this. um, so yeah, that was the first kind of idea, and it is mostly software, so that's kind of also why I thought maybe this could be like an easier solution to build, rather than like a tool. So the next thing that I tested, as in the value proposition slides, was something I call an in situ PCB tester and circuitry updater. And that's something that you do a little bit later in the process. But like once you have like a built up PCB, once you have like an assembly built on the circuit board, something that you can load in this board, and it starts testing the board itself. And if it finds defects, it could try to fix it automatically. And then you could test multiple boards and do like a higher level system test and checkout. Um, and so yeah, that's like a little bit more involved. There's more hardware involved, and so yeah, that was just another idea. It didn't get as much love when I talked to as many people about it. And then the final idea, the final concept that I had in the minimum in the MVP slides, was something I call the PCB rework robot, and that ideally is just like a fully automated system. You get a board back that was built at a vendor, and it scans the board. It uses like AI vision systems, and it removes and replaces and tests the board fully, and just gets you a like a working board back, on the back end. Whereas right now that's a like fully um, manual process. Whereas as defects come down, as QA finds defects, people have to go in manually, like by hand, fixing the boards. So yeah, the idea was to like just fully automate that. Um, yeah, so that was that round, which we call cycle two. Um, and let me quickly open up the heat map that I found from that piece. So yeah, I talked to one, two, three, four, five, six. I talked to 7 people that I had worked with at JPL, and um, all across the board, like individual contributors to managers to leads, um, to like systems engineers and like um, people actually like designing and delivering these boards. And so there was a lot of love about the first idea that I had, the PCB defect dispositioner. And luckily, that was like is the easiest one to build. Um, Not so much love for the PCB like testing, the second idea, like the system level, mainly because people said like we kind of do that anyway. Like we do it a little bit differently, which is like we build the boxes and kind of like self standalone units themselves, and then those get tested individually, and then you like slowly combine boxes and do like higher and higher level testing. Um, and so they were like that system kind of works, and so we don't really want to automate that, honestly. Like they want to know like what's happening with their circuits. And then the PCB work robot, the last idea, also got a good amount of love. It was pretty close. The totals were pretty close between the first MVP slide and this last one. And this last one really excites me. I mean, like making a fully autonomous robot to do some real world work is really cool. So yeah. Um, but as I started talking to my mentor, um, and kind of expanding my idea and expanding what's really available and what's really like useful, um, I started thinking maybe I should look at some ideas, and maybe I should spitball some ideas that were outside of like my personal experience, because I then started to realize like, oh, maybe what I was working on was pretty niche. And um, it is pretty niche currently, like space tech, while Elon and Jeff Bezos are making things more accessible, and they're making these great companies, SpaceX and Blue. It's still like a very small niche industry, and so the problems that I was solving were just like very niche problems. So I then tried to zoom out and see what else is going on. What's like maybe a piece of tech that is coming online, or something that is like very exciting that's coming on that I can maybe jump on. So I randomly saw this story that was talking about autonomous driving, and where the um, like where the big costs were in autonomous driving, and they said that like 30% of like the baseline cost of an autonomous vehicle is the maintenance cost. And that got me thinking. I was like, okay, maybe there's something there. um, Maybe like if the driving is autonomous, why is like the maintenance not autonomous as well? So I started looking at that. Could we could we automate some of those pieces? Like, is there like tire wheel maintenance, or charging or cleaning? Is there something there that we can automate, and that like somebody at these companies is like dying for us to automate? So I was only able to talk to two people in that sphere, in the autonomous driving sphere. Um, and they both kind of had the same understanding and same vibe, and they were just like, yeah, we're really focused on autonomous driving, and we want to be really great at autonomous driving. We want to have like the best rider experience that we can provide. we don't really want to be like mechanics. That's not really our thing. And so, depending on the market and depending on the city, we do provide those services. Like we obviously take care of the vehicles, but we try to contract that away. And for the most part, it is contracted away. So like in some cities, it's fully contracted away. Like Google doesn't do any piece; they just give the car to somebody and then get a fully or a car back that is ready to go. In other cities, the Google Waymo engineers are kind of in charge of the line of the things that are done to the car, but like they're still contracted away individually, like individual kind of like workflows will be contracted to certain people, and then they'll get the car and send it to like to one person to clean, and then like they'll close that, and then they'll send it to like another mechanic to do like a brake inspection or something. So I started thinking about that, and that seemed a little bit more promising, honestly, just because autonomous driving is it's coming up. It's going to be a big market, I think. I think a lot of people at Google are betting on that. A couple other companies are coming online, like Zoox, for example, starting out in Vegas. And so, yeah, I was like, okay, so there's something here. If if we can undercut and if we can save them, I don't know, even like 5%, 10%, um, and on that piece is 30% of like where they're losing money currently, or where their like bottom line profit is going. Um, but then I started thinking a little bit more expansively. I was like, okay, so if we're building robots and if we can service vehicles, autonomous vehicles, why couldn't we service normal cars as well? And so then I expanded and started thinking about what if we started a company that just serviced any vehicle. And then I uh, wanted to understand, what where that could go. And so I think a valuable addition or a valuable path is would be to go to a specific like dealership, like maybe Ford, because I have a Ford, um, and then go to their service center and understand what are the main costs, what is their biggest headache when it comes to servicing these vehicles, where they would love to automate, like where they would like to save money, how they would like to save money. And of course, like I'm the automation expert, so I want to understand, where, like, what is the biggest blocker to having them service more vehicles or to have them make more money per each service. So that's the path that I'm going to now. It was really difficult trying to get access to uh, driverless car engineers and leaders and tech leads. That space is pretty small, and I don't have a lot of access to it. And so the couple of people that I was able to find, it was hard to like really use them to like leverage anybody else. But I think it'll be much easier to go to dealerships and to have conversations with people in that space, um, especially especially I think if I can offer them, some value, which is like, I can help you with your bottom line. I can get more cars to you. I can, save you money. So yeah, I mean that's where I'm at now. I'm at the stage where I'm going to be moving to interviews with people at these companies. Um, so yeah, so let me just go here and let me see if I've missed anything about what I need to talk about. So I think I'm good. So my relative confidence in each component of the value proposition and why. So right now, when it's coming down to the automation of this vehicle, thing. Um, I think I'm pretty confident that I understand automation, and that once I target, or through these interviews, once I understand like where the biggest pain point is, um, that we'll be able to offer autonomous and robotic solutions to that pretty quickly. I think what I suspect is going to happen is like most of the work that they wish that was automated and that gives them the most amount of headache, that's the biggest time sink, are just like really simple things like, screwing and unscrewing screws, taking some like just basic measurements, maybe even just like onboarding vehicles. I think a lot of that are like pretty basic tasks. Some of that maybe we could even automate with some simple, online tools, which would be even better than having to make a physical tool. So I'm definitely excited to explore that. Um, and I think very generally how I've evolved through this process is, um, early on when I first came into the program, I came in with like really lofty ideas and really, really big like concepts that I was just like, this is cool and I think it should happen. And I just want to build it without really understanding, will anybody pay for it? Does anybody need this right now? Is anybody dying, to have, an AI satellite? Or is anybody dying to have like a robot to like build a PCB? Um, and I think the answer is no. It would be cool if I had like infinite funds. I think it would be a really cool thing to have, and I think eventually, like people would want it once it's already built, but like probably wouldn't be able to like recoup how much money I would spend designing these systems. But I think as I look into the pain points that dealers are facing, especially in the service centers, which is like a very labor intensive like industry, I think, and it's such a big industry, like automobiles are such a huge industry in America and worldwide. I think I saw it was like a $1.3 trillion like annual industry. So if you can save even, like up a half of a percent, that's like a huge impact in the industry overall. And I think these solutions, once the solutions are made and you can implement them like readily across different companies, I think there's a huge opportunity there. So yeah, I think hopefully that works. And I'm changing my mindset from like, this is a cool idea and this will be fun to make, to like, where where's the actual pain, like who's going to pay for this right now, and how can I sell immediately, like, who can fund, like, is this idea so compelling, and do these people need this solved so readily that they would even be willing to like invest like right out the gate before there's even a product into the solution that I have. And so that's what I'm going. That's what I'm leading with from here on out. Is I want to find something or a few ideas that are so compelling that somebody is willing to pay, like today, just to even have like access to the solution whenever it's built. So yeah, thanks for listening.